So for today's video, we're gonna be making a box cake. We're gonna be taking this box cake and we're gonna level it up. Yes, we're gonna take this box cake to the next level so that it tastes like a homemade cake and it tastes good and it tastes like something you actually want to eat. All right, so you're gonna want to keep the box because we're gonna be following the instructions on here, just adding some ingredients here and there or taking away some and replacing some ingredients. So it calls for 1 cup of water, 3 large eggs, that was 4, 3 large eggs, and a half a cup of vegetable oil. So what we're gonna be doing is substituting the water for milk, the 3 eggs for 4 eggs, and the half a cup of vegetable oil for 1 full cup of butter. And then we're adding 2 other ingredients, which are sour cream and vanilla extract. We opened up our box, but the first step is to prep. So we need to preheat our oven to 350. So let's do that. Let's preheat the oven to 350 and start. All right, the next step is to spray the bottom and the sides of the pan with baking spray. So we're gonna use this spray. It's canola oil. And we're using this rectangular pan. You just wanna make sure you get all up in there with the spray. You're gonna be spraying the bottom and then the sides. So now we're on to step 2, which is so easy. You blend up the cake mix, the water or milk in our case, the eggs and the oil or butter in our case. We have a nice clean bowl and that just goes in there. Make sure you get it all out. All right, and then it's the water. So we're doing a cup of milk. And sometimes when I'm doing the milk, I like to go a little bit like heavy-handed because I just think it makes it taste better. It's 1 cup. It goes in here. Like that. Next is our eggs. And remember, we're using 4 eggs instead of 3. And if you're like me and always get shells from the eggs in whatever you're making, I would advise you crack them in something else and then pour them in. All right, once you have all your eggs cracked in here, then you just want to make sure there's no shells. There's no shells, so you just pour it in the rest of our batter. Right, so next step is oil, and remember we're gonna be using 2 sticks of butter. So we're just gonna put this in this thing, and I washed it out because I just did the eggs, but yeah, I just stick. So butter and butter, and then these just go in the microwave. Since the butter is done melting, but since the butter is hot and the eggs in here are cold, I want to mix this up first so that the butter doesn't scramble the eggs. Because if we add in all of this right now, then you have to change to scrambling the eggs because the butter is hot and the eggs are cold, and you know, how do you make scrambled eggs? Exactly. So we want to mix this up first and then slowly start adding in the butter. All right, this is all mixed up, so now we can start slowly adding the butter and then alternating between mixing and adding the butter. All right, so this is all mixed together and it's like a pretty thick batter, which is what we want. That's gonna give it that moist taste. All right, so when adding the vanilla, it's really just about how much you think. There's no specific measurements for either one of the extra ingredients, actually. But vanilla is just vanilla to taste. Now, sour cream, this one is also just like measure with your heart. This brings out like a richness in the cake, and it just takes it up to a next level. It makes it more moist, and it's a good ingredient to add. So this one, I'll say this much. And I say maybe a tad bit more. So like that. Not heaping, but like enough. All right, we have these other 2 ingredients, our sour cream and our vanilla in here. So now we're just gonna finish mixing it. You just wanna take your mix and pour it into the pre-greased pan that we already have. Okay, so now we're just taking our cake mix and putting it, we wanna make sure it's on the middle rack, because if you put it on the bottom of it will burn, but here it gets equal distribution of the heat. So we put that in the middle, and then you can see that the cake rose quite a bit. We're just gonna get ready to take that out. And all right, now that our cake is done, we're just gonna get ready to work on the icing, because guess what? We're gonna be leveling that up too. So we have some chocolate icing. I think that goes best with yellow cake. So we have chocolate icing, and we're gonna add a couple of things just to make it better. Okay, the first thing that we're gonna do to the icing is just whip it with our handheld mixer. By whipping it, it makes it more like light and airy. It also increases the amount of frosting that you have to work with, because it's just so fluffy. So you just wanna mix it, I say for about a minute, maybe a minute 30. Okay, now that we have our cake and our icing done, we're gonna get ready to ice our cake. We're just going to take a little bit, maybe like that. Definitely more than that, like 2 scoops, 3 scoops. Like. All right, so this is our finished product. I think it looks good. It's nice and moist, and we get up. And then I think it's nice and moist, and we're gonna go ahead and try it. Let's give it a try, just this one on top. I mean, I like it. It's nice and moist. It has a good like bounce back texture. It's very soft, it's very buttery, it's very pillowy. Yeah, I think it's very good. All right, that is the end of my video. Thank you guys so much for helping me make this stuff and watching me make the desserts. That's the rest of it, and these ones are going in for reviews. The next thing you'll see is people trying them. Yeah, okay. It's good.
It's good.